For months, it's been Haaland or Salah. Well, this is why you need them both. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. You've enjoyed the international break. We're now counting down the days to game week 12. And in today's show, we're looking at the best premiums to own throughout the festive season. We're going to look at Saka and Palmer and Bruno too. And we're going to look at the fixture ticker with all the midweek games, not just in the Premier League, but the EFL Cup and European Cup competitions as well. Loads to get through. Let's get started. Guys, if you want to hit that like and subscribe button nice and early, that would be awesome. We're going to go through all the fixtures until 2024 ends, right up until the end of December, all the way through to game week 19. And we're going to look at Salah, Haaland, Palmer, Saka, Bruno, and the Spurs lads as well. These are the premiums. I think the best balance of all is probably to get 3 in your team for this congested run. The reason we like premium players because they deliver on points. But the other benefit of premium players through this period is they're usually, and the players we're talking about today, they're all minutes monsters. They don't get injured much. They play 90 minutes. They don't get subbed off in games when the team is winning. They stay on the pitch and they pick up points. And for the December period, that's really, really important as the fixtures come thick and fast. So look, let's go through them one by one. We're going to start with Mo Salah. Hands up. Salah's not someone in my team as things stand. But as we look at the fixtures, I'm going to tell you where I think my entry point will be. And I know everyone watching this has Salah, and sure, against Southampton in game week 12, he's going to fly and he's the best captaincy option. I agree with that. So when we see his fixtures, yes, it's Southampton, but then it's Champions League followed by Man City, right? And we can see this ticker shows midweeks all the way through to game week 19. So between 12 and 13, there's Champions League or European Cup. Between 13 and 14, well, 14 is a midweek fixture. And then between 15 and 16, again, there's European football. And between 16 and 17, there's Carabao Cup. Now, Haaland and Palmer don't feature in that, but Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs are all in the quarterfinals of the EFL Cup. And then between 17 and 19 is the midweek Premier League round of 18. So what we're saying is there is a midweek round of fixtures every single week between now and the end of December for the top players like Mo Salah. So with that in mind, no surprises, he missed the international break. He's had a nice rest, but you could see some reduced minutes in games where they're cruising. But these guys are going to be starting every game because that's so important to their teams. Maybe the EFL Cup will see a little bit of rotation for some teams depending on their opposition. But for other teams like Spurs, that's a cup competition they can go and win. And trophies will matter for Ange Postecoglou, especially with no Man City and Chelsea in the EFL Cup. So look, Salah, let's get started. We'll see the chart. We've got Southampton and Man City in the next 2. Southampton's great, Man City's not. Newcastle away isn't the best. But then when we look from 15 onwards, this is the period I think everyone absolutely needs Mo Salah. It's Everton, Fulham, Tottenham, Leicester, West Ham. It's a good run of games. It's a good run of games from now. It's a great run of games from 15. So Mo Salah. How do you get him in your team? Well, think about how you're going to get there if you don't already own him for 15. For me, it's getting money out the likes of Trent, out the likes of Solanke, but not out the likes of Haaland. So let's talk about Erling Haaland and why I think Erling Haaland is absolutely needed for this busy fixture run. Now, sure, many will see the Tottenham fixture and go, that's a tough fixture. The centre-backs for Spurs this weekend could be Dragusin and Ben Davis, like Van de Ven injured, Romero we don't know about. If that's the case, Postecoglou with his high line, who will only play one way, this is a very good fixture for Erling Haaland, who's been scoring goals for fun for Norway. When we look at Haaland in the last few weeks, well, actually, if we look at him this season, this was actually taken from FPL Velva on Twitter, but this was taken before game week 11, where he continued to underperform. Haaland had 77 points from 9.5 non-pen XGI. Salah had 93 from 5.96 XGI. We're seeing massive overperformance from Salah. We're seeing massive underperformance from Haaland. Now, usually these guys hit par, right? This has just been a bad run for Haaland. The chances are coming, and I still think he's as good an own as Mo Salah. So Spurs, Liverpool, the next 2, fine, you might think you can go without. But then the run is good, guys. Forest at home, Palace away, Man United at home, Villa, Everton, Leicester. you're going to want Erling Haaland back in your teams. And I think we need to have a plan for how to get Haaland in from game week 14. So definitely look ahead at the fixtures and look at your team. Many watching this do not have Erling Haaland and think if and when you'll move to him. I think game week 14 is the obvious entry point at home to Nottingham Forest, who sure Forest have been good and they went to Anfield and won. But that's still a very good fixture for a team like City, who bully often when they're at home the bottom half teams. Now Forest, on paper, for me, they're still a sort of mid-table team. Guys, thank you, by the way, for enjoying the show. Do hit that like button. Thank you for subscribing too. Shout out to OneFootball. You guys all use OneFootball, right? You tell me in the comments you do. For me, it's the best football app out there. Whether you want scores or football news, or for me, video clips, it's brilliant for all of that jazz. It's a free football app. Like, genuinely, it lives on the home screen of my phone. Scan the QR code. Get OneFootball, you won't regret it, and you'll use it every day. I use it morning and night. And thank you, OneFootball, for partnering with this channel. Let's move on to another player I think you need throughout the festive period. And you're like, how can you fit all these premiums in? Well, the good news is there's loads of good, cheap enablers. Like Mateus Cunha just went and got 12 points. Morgan Rogers is a great midfield option. Semenyo too. Loads of budget forwards, loads of budget midfielders, and actually in defence, Lewis Hall at 4.4, 8 Nouri at 4.7. Like, these guys are delivering and they're cheap. Kirkes of Bournemouth I like. Colwill, Chelsea, all around the 4.5 mark. So Cole Palmer's got the best fixtures of all these players, and most importantly, he doesn't have all the midweek fixtures. Cole Palmer isn't in the Chelsea's Europa Conference League squad for the group games. He is missing all the groups. So until the new year, he ain't playing European football. Cole Palmer has midweeks off in the next few weeks. He also isn't playing in the EFL Cup because Chelsea got knocked out. So when we look at Salah, and we look at Saka, and we look at Bruno, and the Spurs lads, every midweek between now and the end of December, they've got a fixture. Haaland has 1 off because of the EFL Cup, and Palmer has 3 off. That matters. Cole Palmer is going to be fresh. What else matters is the fixtures. Boy, it's good for Chelsea. Leicester, Villa, Southampton, Tottenham, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich. If you don't have Cole Palmer in your team, get there. Prioritise him. Honestly, the fixtures are there for Cole Palmer. I really, really think he's needed for this run. So Cole Palmer is in my team and I'm happy about it. One player I thought would be in my team. And the more I look at his injuries of late, the more I look at Arsenal's form and the more I look at Arsenal's fixtures, I don't think Bukayo Saka is going to be for me. When we look at this run, there's a nice little fixture run from like game week 16. He plays Everton, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Brentford. It's a good run. Before that, it's Forest, West Ham, Fulham. But with all the midweek football, with the fact that we know he's been carrying a knock, we know he went off against Chelsea, we expect he'll start this weekend, but who knows? The Champions League football, the EFL Cup football, the fact that Arsenal just aren't scoring many goals at the minute, although with Odegaard back in the team, I do expect that to change and Havertz playing further up. Knowing Saka's so expensive, I don't think we need Saka. Personally, I think if I was covering an Arsenal attacker, it would probably be Havertz because I save money and I'm committing therefore less to Havertz than Saka. And 2, Havertz hasn't got the ongoing injuries problems that Saka's clearly had for the last few weeks. Really surprised at that. I thought I'd own Saka for this period, but I can't see how I get him. Honestly, I don't look at the fixtures there and think there's a run I have to have him. When you look at Salah, Haaland and Palmer, you see those really nice sections of 4-5 game weeks. Saka, yeah, it's okay from 16, but I don't, Everton and Ipswich at home are nice in 16 and 18, but I don't look at that and go, he's an absolute must-have. Similar with Bruno. I feel like the entry point for Bruno was last week. Brilliant. You got massive points if you backed him against Leicester. Thank God I did. And I'm happy to have him for Ipswich and Everton. But then for Bruno, Arsenal, Forest, City, Bournemouth, Wolves, Newcastle, it's a tough run. It's a really tough run. And then you put the midweek fixtures in there in the EFL Cup and the Europa League. It's a really tough run. So sure, I like the new manager bounce narrative. I like Ipswich and Everton as opponents. But I think if you haven't already got Bruno, unless you're looking for a 2-week punt, you don't need to go there. If you've got the luxury of loads of free transfers and you want a short-term punt, sure, it's a nice entry point. The best entry point, though, was clearly on Bruno, last week. Guys, by the way, if you want to see more data on all these players, Like the XGI data, the best attacks, the best defenses, it's all in the Scout members area. Like you can spend hours in there. The time to be planning forward ahead of all the busy fixtures is now. So if you want to check the Scout members area out, there's a link in the description. But yeah, I've spent ages on there this morning as I've gone back into FPL mode at the start of this week. I was looking at premium players and I stopped the list at Saka. And then I thought, no, I'm going to put Bruno in. He's not quite a premium in terms of price point, but he has potential to deliver like a premium. History tells us that. And with Ipswich and Everton up next, I thought I should include him. And then I thought, there's not really a Spurs player like that I can go, he's in that same band. But I'm going to chuck Solanke in just for good measure because Spurs have been a top 2 attack this season in terms of goals, XG, big chances. Therefore, I think it's only right to put a Son or Solanke in. But I don't think the fixtures are there for them. Yes, they've got the busy midweeks. The good news for Spurs in the midweeks, it's not Champions League, it's Europa League. They often rest a Son or a Solanke, right? They do have the EFL Cup between 16 and 17. So going into that Liverpool fixture, they'd have just played the EFL Cup, which will matter way more to Spurs than other teams because of their lack of trophies in recent times. But then the Premier League fixtures, do you listen to this run and go, I need a Spurs attacker for any of this run? City, Fulham, Chelsea, no. Southampton, Liverpool, Forest, Wolves. It's nice fixtures in there, but knowing Liverpool is one of them and Southampton and Forest are both away fixtures, I'm not so sure. So I look at my team and think, Solanke is definitely someone I can sell. And Son is just too expensive and, again, not reliable for the busy fixtures with his injuries. So I look at this list and go, who do I need for my team? Well, Palmer, Haaland, Salah are the chosen 3. I've actually ranked them, right? Salah is probably my chosen 1. I don't own him because I can't get there easily. But if I was on wildcard or starting afresh, Salah, Haaland, Palmer, I think would be my top 3 in priority. But in my team, I'm going to have Palmer and Haaland, and I'm going to get to Salah by 15. I don't think I'm going to get to Salah by Southampton in 12. I definitely won't be buying him in 13 ahead of City. There's a good chance I buy him in 14 for Newcastle. And actually, when you see Bruno and Salah's fixtures, if you're on Bruno like me, going from Bruno to Salah in 14 is very, very possible. Very possible. And that's probably my plan. Obviously, I need to find a lot of money. Like, where's your 5 million, Gianni? Well, I'll find it from Trent and Solanke. But I'll get there with free transfers. That is the hope. Guys, I am on Bluesky. Have you guys heard of Bluesky? It's like Twitter, but without all the bots, pretty much, and without the inappropriate stuff that your For You page keeps showing you. So I joined Bluesky. If you want to find me on there, I'm posting loads on Bluesky. I'm still posting on Twitter. I haven't quite figured out what balance I'm going to go with and how much time I plan on spending on Twitter moving forward. But all I can say is I'm loving Bluesky. I'm putting a huge amount of content out on there. So come and give me a follow if you fancy. Guys, thank you so much for watching. My team selection will be out later this week. I think it's going to be a defensive transfer for me this week as I sell Trent. So stay tuned for Thursday's episode. We will find out more. On the way out, do hit those buttons. Thank you for joining. Let me know in the comments what you're doing with your premiums over the festive period, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.